To Department of Justice, Section 242 of Title 18 makes it a crime for a person acting under color of any law to willfully deprive a person of a right or privilege protected by the Constitution or laws of the United States.
Well, so that would mean makes it a crime for a person acting under color of any law, being law enforcement, state officials, town officials, government officials, okay? To what? Violate your rights. Violation of due process.
According to Wikipedia, when a government harms a person without following the exact course of the law, this constitutes a due process violation, which offends the rule of law.
And I'm going to give you an example of that. I was violated by the Vermont State Police, Essex County Sheriff's Department, and TJ Donovan, as well as Vincent Aluzzi, again, back in March 26th of 2021, when I was served with a protection from abuse restraining order, as well as a second restraining order in a criminal misconduct charge. Served by search warrant that they never came into my house to search for anything. They stood at the kitchen table badgering me for 18 minutes. I shared that already on YouTube. The whole thing is audio recorded, the whole search warrant procedure, okay? They told me that I couldn't use my phone to audio record. That's a violation of my rights, and we'll get to that. But USC 242-1983, they never questioned me if I had committed any kind of crime or if there was a situation between myself and the plaintiff. I'm the defendant, the caller's the plaintiff. Now, I've already proved to the court that I was violated, that the plaintiff, being the one that made the calls to the cops, had called the cops, and he reported false reports and adhered to writing false statements and submitting them, as well as Vermont State Police and the state's attorney accepted them, forwarded them on to the judge. The judge accepted, based on the accusations of the false and fictitious reports and statements that were collected by the Vermont State Police and accepted by Vincent Aluzzi, directed by TJ Donovan. It was confirmed by the court and recognized by the judge that I did not do what I was accused of. But as of today, they still haven't heard the case. We've gone through two court-appointed attorneys because they were both in conflict of interest. Why were they conflict of interest? Because, first of all, I asked for a dismissal. I have the right to ask for a dismissal, and the judge refuses to hear it. Why is he refusing to hear a dismissal? Well, because he says that I need to have a representative. Why do I need to have a representative? I don't want Joe Benning as my representing attorney because he is a senator. He's friends with all of them. I want somebody that is not a biased, paid attorney that is paid by the person who's prosecuting me. Okay? I want somebody that's going to represent me, the client, and do for me and seek justice. But that's not what you get when you go court appointed or when you're in, for instance, Essex County Court in Guildhall, Vermont. If you're dealing with TJ Donovan or anybody in the state of Vermont, I'm going to let you know that they're all a conflict of interest to you. It's not just my opinion. It's what I found to be a fact. Okay? Every court, every judge, every attorney, whether they're paid for or not, are friends with, ate dinner with, aided and abetted in, slept with, I don't know, went to school with, lived with, is married to, divorced from, beat up by TJ Donovan, I don't know. You know, that one guy, we're still trying to find out his name, but we got the proof on it that, you know, that's in public records that TJ punched a guy in the face, and he's our Attorney General for the state of Vermont, who works right up through to the State House and the White House, okay? So that's who is protecting the citizens. They're not. They're protecting the criminals, because the ones that are in office and the ones that are voted in by the ones that are in office and the ones that are paid to work for the ones that are in office are all criminals. Don't tell me they're not, because they know crime is happening. And if you know it, you're aiding and abetting in it. So therefore, you're all included in it. Not just the one that's committing it, but you're just as guilty if you're hiding it. Okay? So that's USC 242-1983. I was charged wrongfully by false statements and reports taken by the state of Vermont police and approved by state's attorney Vincent Aluzzi, who I previously handed a personal injury lawsuit because what he did when he took my parental rights away from me and violated me in many ways back in 2010, but it started in 2006. Okay? It caused me broken heart syndrome, diagnosed with a pacemaker. I suffered immensely. But that's due to the shock of the system when they took my kids wrongfully. So with that being said, utilize your rights would be my suggestion. I went to the court and I filed on USC 242-1983 and USC 242-1981. Do you want to know? I already told you. USC 242-1981. You have the right to fight. And you need to do so if you want your children and you want your families and you want housing and you want food and you want to live a life. You have that right. That's a naturally born right. You have rights and they're all being violated. Why is it that Biden, the president, is running for candidacy again in 24 when nobody likes him now, supposedly? You see what I'm saying? Stand up, people, because I've got more rights of the Constitution to teach to you. Okay? How about, let's go to, I didn't forget you. 42 USC 2002-02, that's restraint, for government restraint. That's when, again, you get detained illegally, wrongfully. False and fictitious reports, involuntary holds in medical wards. My daughter was taken and shot up with ketamine, and they want to deny it and hide it, but the fact is we all know about it. And this conspired situation is a flag in the computers. So when you go anywhere, if you get pulled over by the police, and chances are if you go anywhere, you're going to get pulled over by the police if you're being searched and harassed and followed like me and Bree, because you see, they track us. And so they frivolously pull us over and they try to come up with a reason. That's why I have, devices that record. And isn't that why Lady Lake Police Department in Florida, down in the Villages, took my car from me? Because they weren't sure and they took my phone from me. They returned my phone after the black cop went through it, though. But that goes back to the right to have your own things, or the right to my own things. So why did the Burlington Federal Court security keep my phone downstairs while I went up to file billions of dollars in lawsuits in Burlington, Vermont against the government and the state? And when I went back downstairs, I was so just flighted from filing lawsuits that I forgot my phone. But it was momentarily after, and it was a storm. So I had all this on my mind, and my safety, and how I was going to stay safe. And I had just had my car tampered with twice in 1 week. So knowing that, I was distraught. There's no denying it. But when I came to my senses and remembered my phone, I called the court. They couldn't find it. They couldn't mail it to me because they couldn't find it. But they said they wouldn't mail it to me anyways, that I'd have to go get it. Well, when I went over to get it, it was gone. Nobody has an answer to it. So that means the secretary and the administrating office and everybody that was involved in taking my mail and distributing it back to return to sender before it even got to me, okay? And then my phone comes up missing and all of my, personal information. Imagine that. That goes along with right after that when they stole my house and my car. So you see, somebody was still following me.